Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Trump's new border czar. Well, he's doing the job Kamala Harris didn't do for 4 years, and it's causing some waves. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, please check that address in the lower right hand corner. It's youtube.com/@explainamerica and hit subscribe absolutely free. It really helps us out. Guys, Tom Homan, he's going to be the new border czar, and he's going to kick butt and take names. This guy is not playing around. He's got his deportation boot on, and he's ready to start putting boots to butts, if you know what I'm saying. So if you are an illegal alien, particularly one who has committed a crime, you might want to get your luggage together, pack your bags, make arrangements. You could leave now and save yourself the headache, but they're coming for you. And the announcement he made today, first of all, when Trump announced him as a new border czar, heads popped off in liberal world, right? They were furious. They were absolutely furious. How dare this guy do what he said he was going to do? This is the thing that drives liberals nuts. Trump doesn't just promise stuff. He then does the stuff that he promised to do. It's a novel concept. It's crazy in Washington, D.C. They don't really understand it. This actual thing of saying you're going to do something, then doing it, that is foreign to them. I want you to watch this clip about this man and what he's going to do, and let me know what you think in the comments.
Well, I know you don't want to give away the whole game book, but you do have deportations, mass workplace stuff planned, any other kind of category of deportations of interest?
Look, as the president said on stage many times, which I agree with 100%, it's going to be the same it was during the first administration, which is just a hell of a lot more of them because 10 million people have entered this country illegally under the Biden administration, or they actually let into this country, even though it's violation of federal law, what they've been doing, the abuse of the parole authority. But look, I've been clear, President Trump's been clear. Public safety threats and national security threats will be the priority because they have to be. They pose the most danger to this country. So we're going to prioritize those groups, those who always have final orders, those that had due process at great taxpayer expense, and the federal judge says you must go home, and they didn't. They became a fugitive. So, and as far as worksite operations have to happen. Here's why, Steve. Where do we find most victims of sex trafficking and forced labor trafficking? At work sites. And the Biden administration shut down work sites. On one point, they say we care about sex trafficking and human trafficking. Then they shut down work site enforcement, which is one of the main areas we find the victims of this. I want to add one more thing, another priority. This administration has lost over 300,000 children that were smuggled in this country by criminal cartels they can't find. That's another priority. We need to save these children because some of these children are in forced labor, some of these children are in sex trafficking, some of these children are living a life of hell every day. And we need to save these children and get them back with their families.
You know, Tom, first of all, congratulations to you. And I'm so glad for the Border Patrol that morale is already being lifted. They have just been beaten down by the policies of this last administration. I'm really encouraged by what you're saying, because I think the toughest part of your job isn't the deportation. It's dealing with the propaganda from the other side saying that what you're doing is not compassionate, that it's not humanitarian. And what do you plan to do? I'm glad you mentioned the 300,000 children that are missing. But how are you going to deal with those kinds of attacks, even though you know that this open border has led to sex trafficking of children and an exponential increase of child labor, illegal child labor?
Frankly, I don't care what people think about me, especially on the left. Again, when you have a historic crisis, a crisis this big, here's what they need to know. When you have a crisis this big that overwhelms the Border Patrol, where the majority of Border Patrol are no longer on patrol, they're making sandwiches, they're changing diapers, they're making baby formula, they're making hospital runs, they're making airport runs. When you take most of Border Patrol agents off the border to deal with humanitarian crisis, that's when the fentanyl comes across to kill 250,000 Americans. That's when the sex trafficking has increased 600%. That's when no suspected terrorists has crossed this country. They've had a record of people on terrorist watch list been arrested at the southern border. That's why you have over 2 million gotaways. How many of them came from a country sponsoring terror? So I don't care what anybody's opinion is on illegal immigration. When you create a crisis this big, all these other bad things happen. That's why you have to secure the border. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or independent. Border security is national security. We should all be on the same side of that. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. And the director of the FBI actually agrees with me. I don't respect him greatly, but he agrees with me. The southwest border is the biggest national security vulnerability this nation's ever seen. He sees more red flags now than ever before. We have to secure the border. And as far as the people want to push back on deporting these people, what is the option? You have a right to claim asylum. You have a right to see a judge, and we make that happen. But at the end of that due process, if the judge says you must go home, then we have to take them home. And because if we're not, what the hell are we doing? If the judge's order doesn't mean anything, then shut down the immigration court, take the border patrol off the border, so there's no consequences violating the laws of this country. We'll give you a fair shake. You get a chance to claim asylum, but due process doesn't mean squat if the final decision of the court isn't carried out. What is the option? Let them all stay? Because if that's the option you want, you're never going to fix the southern border, because you send a message to the whole world. Come to the United States, enter the country legally, which is a crime. Don't show up in court, or show up in court, get an order removal, but you still get to stay. That doesn't work.